Meet Me in the Magic Kingdom by Kathy Jacobson. The big day had finally arrived. Today, Kate and her family were going on a vacation. She couldn't wait to see her cousin Bonnie. Every summer, the two families planned a vacation together in a new place. Kate's mom called it a family tradition. This year, they had decided to meet at the Magic Kingdom in Florida. Kate and her brother Mike helped Dad and Mom load the van. Mom laughed when Dad complained about bringing too much. "That's part of the family tradition too," she told Kate. They were finally on their way from the highway. Kate saw the jagged skyline of Manhattan in the distance. Now she knew why they called the tall buildings skyscrapers. They seemed to reach up to scrape the sky. A few hours later, Kate's dad pointed to a domed building in the distance. "There's Washington, D.C., he announced. "The nation's capital." They toured the Capitol, where the country's laws are made, in the Smithsonian Institution, the Washington Monument, and the Lincoln and Jefferson Memorials. They even visited the White House, where the president and the first family live. Kate's dad took lots of pictures. Bonnie's family lived in Minnesota, so Uncle Lee and Aunt Karen decided to fly to Florida. It was more than 1,500 miles away. The pilot announced that they would fly over 7 states. It would have taken Bonnie and her family about 3 days to drive, but it took only 4 hours for them to fly. From so high up, it was hard to tell one state from another. The land seemed to stretch out in every direction as far as the eye could see. Bonnie thought the farms of Iowa looked like one of Grandmother's giant patchwork quilts. "Almost there," announced Kate's dad. Kate and Mike cheered. The drive had been fun, but Kate was anxious to meet up with her cousins in Orlando. That's when the real fun would begin. "Look who's here," said Kate's dad. Everyone laughed and hugged. That night at the hotel, Kate and Bonnie talked excitedly about all the neat things they would do tomorrow. They couldn't wait. "There it is," shouted Kate the next morning. It was early, but Main Street was already crowded with families strolling and in and out of many shops. A horse trotted by pulling a trolley, and a conductor rang a big brass bell. Dad said it reminded him of a small town at the turn of the century. "Did you take a trolley to work too?" Mike asked. "I'm not that old," Dad laughed. "Look!" Bonnie shouted. Up ahead, the gleaming spires of Cinderella's castle touched the sky. The first thing Mike and Rich wanted to do was climb the Swiss family treehouse. It had about everything a real house had, including 3 levels, wood furniture, lamps, beds with quilts, candles stuck in seashells, even running water. Uncle Lee suggested they go on a jungle cruise next. Their boat chugged downriver through a jungle in the Southeast Asia, the Nile Valley, the African veldt, and the Amazon rainforest. Some elephants on the shore were taking a bath. "They splash around more than Lulu," joked Bonnie. "Arrgh!" growled a pirate captain from atop a buried treasure. It was just like being on a pirate raid on the Caribbean island down in the 1800s. Pirates were everywhere. There was even a parrot dressed in a pirate costume. It was easy to understand how Splash Mountain got its name. No one stayed dry as the log plunged down the giant waterfall with a huge splash. Kate and Bonnie sat in front and got soaked. the entrance to the haunted mansion, Kate read the funny inscriptions on the tombstones in the graveyard. She worried if it might be a little scary inside, but Bonnie said, "It's fun to be scared." Bonnie was right. The ghosts and goblins danced and sang and flew through the air. It was a huge ghost party. One of them even sat on Kate's lap. "Hey, Kate," said Bonnie, "I think that ghost wants to ride." After a break for lunch, it was time to visit the Hall of Presidents. Each president was dressed in authentic period clothing, and it was hard to believe they weren't real. "How many can you name?" Kate asked Bonnie. "It's like my doll collection has come alive," Bonnie said about It's a Small World. There were dolls from all over the world, including yodelers from Switzerland, kite flyers from Japan, and dancers from Polynesia, wearing glass skirts. Lulu liked the theme song so much they sang it over and over. "Hold on tight," whispered Kate's dad. "We're off to Neverland." It felt like they were flying as they glided over a spectacular nighttime scene of London down below. Thousands of tiny lights from the city twinkled, and moonlight danced on the river Thames. Up, up, and away! Bonnie asked Aunt Karen if she wanted to go to the Mad Tea Party. "No thanks," laughed Aunt Karen. "It makes me too dizzy. I'll take Lulu on Dumbo instead." Lulu sat in Aunt Karen's lap and giggled and clapped as the big-eared elephant floated up and down. At Mickey's Starland, Lulu watched a stage show starring Mickey and Minnie and her other favorite characters. She toured Mickey's house, peeked into Minnie's dollhouse, petted baby animals at Grandma Duck's farm, and even had her picture taken with Mickey. After that, Kate's dad said it was the perfect time for an ice cream break. "I want chocolate," said Mike. "I want vanilla," said Rich. "I want strawberries," said Bonnie and Kate. Mike and Rich said they wanted to go on Space Mountain next. "How about we ride the Astro Orbiter first?" asked Kate. From way up high, they had a perfect view of the park. They could even see Aunt Karen and Lulu waving to them from way down below. "Everyone looks like ants," said Bonnie. "Let's go meet a creature from outer space," said Kate as they headed toward the extraterrestrial alien encounter. "I bet the alien is huge and green and has 3 heads. Sometimes I think my brother's a creature from outer space," choked Bonnie. "It's getting late," Kate's dad said a little while later. The sun was going down, and everyone was happy but tired. Lulu had already fallen asleep by the time they stopped for dinner at a small cafe, and even Kate found herself yawning once or twice. It had been an exciting day. What a better way to end it than by watching a spectacular SpetroMagic parade.